Welcome back to Up North at 4. We are joined by Dan Strauss from Hometown Pharmacy. Dan is a co-founder of Hometown Pharmacy, former CEO as well. We appreciate you making the trip up.
Oh, thanks for asking us, and happy to share what's happening in the world of pharmacy and healthcare.
Lots to get to.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about eventually how St. Germain lost their pharmacy that had been there for 40 plus years. But we have some definitions for the people at home. So please bear with us.
Stay with us.
This will be kind of a heavy 4 minutes here. But we got to talk about a pharmacy benefit manager. What is a pharmacy benefit manager?
They are entities that are largely unknown by the great American public. I think 99% of Americans don't even know they exist. They were created way back in the 60s when there was trying to be some regulation on what prescriptions were determined or prescribed. And at the time, there was a problem with maybe some pharmaceutical companies enticing doctors with different methods. And they said that's not the proper way to do it. The proper way to do it is do it on science. So a pharmacy benefit manager was originally created to actually what we called a formulary. So the science, this prescription is better for this protocol than this other science. So it was meant to be, here's what's right for the patient. So it started out with a very benevolent cause, and pharmacists did a great job there. Well, it turns out that the same science for this company would be the same science for here. So then it went from, hey, can you not only just do the formulary, can we procure together? Can 10 businesses get together to get a better price? Makes perfect sense. So then it moved out of the pharmacist milieu into, let's call it, business executives. And so, of course, you can buy 100,000 bottles better than you can buy 10,000 bottles. And you would think that should all go back to the patient or the payer. Well, these PBMs then found out, it's like, wait a minute, there's no regulation here. I don't have to share all that. I can keep this. And their fiduciary duty is to their shareholders. So the more I can keep, the better my shareholders like me. So how much can I keep, in essence?
Right. So the little pharmacy doesn't have shareholders, but these PBMs, they are like only a couple companies too, by the way. So tell us about that.
A great question. So 30 years ago, there were 60 or 70 of them, so you had a normal marketplace. There was competition, so nobody could get out of line. Unfortunately, in the last 10 years, there's been significant consolidation, and now you have the big three PBMs who control over 80% of the U.S. lives. So that gives them incredible marketplace power to, now you hope it would be for the good to lower prices, but unfortunately, as we find out later, the opposite has occurred. So they've been in this position of power and being unregulated, so they've basically been able to write a ticket to profitability at the expense of everyone else.
So I'm hearing you say that PBMs originally were a great thought for the industry, correct?
Correct.
Then they all consolidated, and now they have too much power.
Yes.
When they got too much power, that affected your business, your small pharmacy, adversely. How was that?
If they would have just been PBMs, that would have been one thing. But they were making so much money that pretty soon they started buying insurance companies, buying their own pharmacy chains and their own mail order pharmacy. So not only were they making money on what we call a spread, now they would do patient steerage. So if you have this insurance company, you have to bypass a pharmacy that's right next door, and you have to travel 45 miles to a different city to go to a pharmacy that they select, and ironically, most times pay more. And without knowing it, because the insurance card is telling you where you need to go.
So this PBM could own, let's say, CVS down the street, and because they own it, they want to make more money, so they're going to send their patients to that CVS.
So they're double dipping.
And you'll find out later. You find out later it's triple, quadruple dipping, but they're absolutely double dipping here. And so you have a town like St. Germain that has a population. If they all could go to St. Germain Pharmacy, we were fine. We were fine for 41 years. Every year, another chunk says you can't go there anymore. You have to go to this chain. You have to go to mail order. And pretty soon, you take a population here, and only this percentage can actually use the local service. And you, oops.
Oh,
yeah,
you're good.
Okay.
Let's take a break there. I think that's a good segue to our next segment. So we'll be right back after the break.
Okay.